Hello friends, back at you here. I thought, I would do a video. Everybody seems to be doing a trapper video or a week's worth of trapper videos. Well, I don't own enough trappers to do a whole week. So I'm going to do the four that I have all in one video. I'm going to start off with, the first trapper I've ever owned in my whole life, and I bought it early this year. And is that whenever I pick up something new, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of money because you never know if you're going to like it or not. So go fairly inexpensive. That being said, this one cost me right around $20, $21, $22, and that is the old timer. The old timer yellow Delrin. This is the Chinese made, and it is the 94 OTY, Y standing for yellow. So I like Delrin handles. As you know, I'm trying to get all the different colors of Delrin Saudi Juniors, but this one fit the bill for me. Inexpensive. The thing that always got me from trying a trapper is the spay blade. I mean, if you don't go hunting all the time, do you really need a blade that is supposed to be specific to cleaning game? I mean, yes, you can use it for other things, but for the longest time, it's like that looks like a cheese cutter, and that blade would cut cheese just fine. But I wanted more than a blade for cutting cheese. Ooh, I got myself there. I should have a Band-Aid. Big Jim, I should have a Band-Aid. I don't. But this blade I figured out I could use for cleaning my smoking pipes. If you saw my last video, I demonstrated how well it works. And this, tell you what, this knife is as sharp as any buck I've ever bought. I mean, it is sharp. So if you want a knife that you can pull out of the pocket, stick in your pocket, pull out of the package, stick in your pocket, and go. This bad boy is sharp right out of the package. But the fit and finish is great. I mean, you can feel the badge a little bit, but it doesn't catch at all. You can't feel the pins. The pins are nice and flush. There's no gapping. The blades are well centered. So yeah, I can't think of a bad thing about this knife, except it's a little larger than what I like, but it's not overly large. If you're one of the many people that use a slip, this will fit right into a slip pretty nicely. Dude, I chuck my knives right in the pocket. See how it's crazed on the. I like that look. Out of the package, these were mirror shine, but I like that. I think it shows the age. That's why I like a lot of the older knives is it shows the history. And this knife, I'm putting the history into it. So there you go. So that's my gateway trapper. You know how they have gateway drugs? This is my gateway trapper. The next one I picked up when I went up to Maine the last time. Had a little bit of time off, a day to mess around and see what was going on. So I picked this little knife up. Another Chinese knife. Went to Tractor Supply. And this happened to be, on the rack right up in the front, for I think $9.99. But this is mossy oak. It's a mossy oak knife. I like the clip point on this one. It doesn't come straight down. It's kind of got a little, almost a Turkish curve to it. Again, got your spay blade on there. But the thing that I like is that handle. Look at that handle. Nice and sparkly, and I tell you what, you get this out into the sunshine, it just pops. Again, can't feel the pins. Their pins are nice and smooth, and it's a pretty sharp knife right out of the package too. Nothing like this, but it's a very usable knife right out of the package. But it's more my size. This is the mini. This is a mini trapper size, so haven't carried it as much. It's not as scratched on the bolsters, but I like it. And my next one I picked up today at a pawn shop. I just happened to be by a pawn shop here in town and thought I'd drop in and check it out. It needs to be cleaned up. It's kind of dull, and the handles are kind of dull. And I think there was a repair there that I'm going to sand smooth, but the fit and finish is really nice. And I can understand why people are into this brand. This is a Rough Rider, and it's a large one, but I like the tortoise shell handles. But this will be a easy, quick cleanup. The blade, still got the factory edge on it, so nobody used it all that much. There's no scratching. There's got some dull spots in there, but I think that could be wiped off. But it's got your 440 razor sharp steel. But we'll clean this up and get it all nice and shiny, so I can put it in my pocket and get it all scratched up again. But the unusual thing about this one is it's got the razor blade on it. Some people like that, some people don't. I picked it up because it gave me an idea for the next one I'm going to show you. But yeah, my first Rough Rider. And if I like this one as much as I think I'm going to like it, there might be some more Rough Riders in my future. But yeah, like I said, it needs to be cleaned up. I'll post a short on it after, after I get it cleaned, and you can see how it turned out. But, like I said, there's not much that needs to be done on this. It's just a little dull, as in not shiny. But yeah, I like it all right. But this next one, the reason I bought this one and gave me the idea is earlier this week I picked up this one. Now this one, I've been looking at this. This came from, one of the antique stores I always go to. This particular guy always has knives, and this one been sitting in his shelf for at least 6 months. And I'll show you the reason why I think it's been sitting around. Even the price was $16. And I felt it needed a home, But this one is, I got a tagging stamp. Schrade, Walden, New York, USA. Now, according to that tang stamp, this knife was probably made in the, well, this particular knife was probably made in the 50s, but that tang stamp runs from mid 40s to the mid 60s. So, well, I have no idea when Delrin really started hitting, but it's an old Delrin handle. As you can see, it needs to be freshened up pretty good, and it's been whittled down a little bit, but it's full length, so I'm good with that. I can make that work, and get it all nice and sharp and pretty. And this is the 293 pattern. But the reason I talked about this one and the razor is the spade blade. Whoever had this knife was a welder and got that blade with an arc weld and took that big old chunk out of that blade. So what I'm going to do is file that down and file the tip a little bit and make this blade a razor. You can always take stuff away from from the steel. I can't fill that in, so the best I can do is make that blade look like it's supposed to be there. But yeah, so this will be a fun project. I'll definitely do a video on this coming up after I get it all cleaned up and fixed, and we'll see how it is. But yeah, there you go. This is my whole collection of trappers. As a full-size trapper tends to be a little bit big for my taste, but you don't see a whole out in the wild. You don't see a whole lot of the mini trappers. So what are you gonna do? I'm happy to get this one. That's a heavy knife. I'm happy to get this one. I'm happy to be working on this one. This is my gateway trapper, and this is my only mini trapper. But there you go. This is my whole collection. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, A dull knife is a dangerous knife. Until next time, give me a thumbs up. Tell me what you think.